Okay, boys, we live? Good morning. Hope you guys are great. Hope you've had a great week. I've been super busy with web work, so I haven't had the time to do content, but this Monday, we are back on schedule to do content Monday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday for a live stream later on in the evening. And then, of course, circling back around to live streams. All right, so a couple things to chat about as we filter people into this chat. Number one, I've been hearing through the grapevine that testosterone propionate is not being made anymore by Empower. These are just rumors that I've been hearing. People have had a hard time, I guess, dealing with Defy Medical and then trying to get testosterone propionate. You know, the last prop that I got was probably about a month ago. So, you know, I still have some, but I'm due to get more soon, so I haven't tried. However, I did look at Defy Medical's website, defymedicalstore.com, while being logged in and could not find testosterone propionate, whereas it is always usually there. So that might be an indication that for whatever reason, Empower Pharmacy is dialing back on prop and they're not going to make it anymore. I can't really see a reasonable reason that they would be doing that at this point. It doesn't make sense to me at all, considering that we have sent them, you know, this channel alone has sent Defy Medical as well as Empower Pharmacy a lot of business and a lot of people purchasing testosterone propionate. So I think somehow, even though it doesn't make sense, that has something to do with it. They're just overrun with, you know, the production of prop. I have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to get to the bottom of it for people. Again, Defy Medical, it looks like they don't have testosterone propionate at the moment, and this seems to be an Empower Pharmacy problem. I don't know if this is permanent. I don't know if maybe they've run out, you know, of prop because I've sent so many people their way. I don't know what's going on, but I promise I will get to the bottom of it by communicating with Defy to see exactly what is happening with the testosterone propionate. In the meantime, though, worst comes to worst, if people have a good response on testosterone propionate and they're worried about it not being available anymore, I mean, you have two options. You have UGL, obviously, and I'll be launching the source list in the next 3 weeks. So, you know, you guys will have that. And then secondarily, you have testosterone cream. Okay. You know, the whole reason that prop is effective and useful for people is because you can feel it right away. You feel it that day. You know, some of the estrogenic side effects are more forgiving. You just don't really notice them. So it's as if you really don't have elevated estrogen, even though you may. And, you know, it leaves the body quicker. It's easier to dial in, all these kinds of things. However, testosterone cream is pretty much the same, except for I think it onsets quicker. It turns on quicker. And you have different options for application. You have scrotal application, which works for most men, but doesn't work for some people. You have shoulder application, which works for some men and doesn't work for other people. Both work for me for cream, and I just love cream. So, you know, if we get to a point where you don't want to go UGL and we can't find prop anywhere because these pharmacies are not making them, making it, then switch to cream, dial in on cream, and you'll have a great time either way, for sure. You know, for sure. It's unclear to me, like, so there are other companies out there like Merrick, like TRT Nation, and like some others that do prescribe prop. It's unclear if they're all getting it from Empower or if they must have different pharmacies, at least some of them. And so prop is likely available in some of those places as well. I've got to do the research and figure out what the fuck's going on with prop. But I did look at Defy Medical's website and they don't have prop as an option right now, which is a little bit alarming. And whatever. Worst comes to worst for me, when I go back to just TRT doses, I'll just use cream. If that happens, you know, I mean, for me, I don't care. I can dial in on cream as one. I really like how cream sits. Let's talk about the DHT gel. So yeah, I'm on, I don't know, day 14. I really have lost track at this point, but consistently dosing DHT gel to the shaft. Again, continuous benefits regarding semen quality, ejaculate quantity, climax sensation, erectile quality, general erectile sensation. I'm not really sure if it's done anything to my libido one way or the other, because it's like good now. But this stuff is very fucking powerful. For those of you interested in using DHT gel as an erectile response enhancing androgen, the studies on this are pretty clear that you're looking at an 8-week cycle minimally, and to be safe, you should probably run it between 12 and 16 plus weeks if you really want to get all the benefits. And that's really endothelium dependent, right? If it's got to go and optimize blood vessel function in your junk, those things are going to take time. That does take time to go and repair damage and potentially clear fibrosis, right? And enhance a bunch of new pathways like neovascularization for you to open up new blood vessels to get better blood flow to the junk. But so far I'm loving it. I have another tube of Indractum coming in because I love it so much, and it's actually going very quickly considering the doses that I'm using. So you know, I will stay on DHT gel for now. Interestingly, that I've moved down to 525 milligrams a week of testosterone enanthate rather than 700 of prop and some cream. My hair loss stopped, like my shedding stopped. So I'm no longer shedding even on a fucking high dose of testosterone, which I'm really grateful for. So, you know, I will keep you guys posted on that. The cycle is likely coming to an end at this point, you know, like somewhat soon. I'm probably just going to dial back to regular TRT, but higher dose TRT, somewhere around 300, 350 a week. And I've gotten, you know, substantial gains. And really, I think for me personally, because I'm unwilling to eat like a bodybuilder, the gains for me have been a lot more in the area of strength. Like I am just fucking stronger, lifting heavier weights than I ever have in my entire life at 40 years old. It feels really fucking good. It's great for the ego at the gym, you know, and I guess I'll give you guys a physique update. So this is just me kind of not lean, you know, this is after a few cheat days. The biggest differences for me is like my chest is just bigger. My arms are bigger. My shoulders are bigger. My fucking traps are bigger. Everything's bigger on my body. And this is me a lot leaner, you know, doing some fucking cardio out in Pittsburgh where, you know, obviously there's just a lot more definition. My chest again is bigger. My ab muscles are starting to become defined. And by the way, I do no abdominal workouts whatsoever. I don't even squat at this point. You know, I haven't squatted in a long time because I'm running every day, and squatting would make running impossible. So yeah, it's just been it's been pretty fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. You know, my goal going back to a pretty high dose of TRT once I get off this cycle, which will be soon, is to maintain as much of those gains as possible, you know, to kind of keep my chest big and just everything looking more three-dimensional and bigger than it, you know, it always has been. And so we'll see how I fare in doing that. Strategically, the best way that I think to do that would still be to have super physiologic levels of testosterone, obviously, but have them peak very quickly every day. And cream and prop is really the best option for that, and probably more potently cream. So I might just end up on a high dose of like 6 pumps of cream a day. Which is more than is usually prescribed, and you know would be somewhere around 420 milligrams of testosterone a week equivalent sort of thing. So last thing I wanted to talk about is HCG superdosing. So the thing I've learned on cycle is that the more suppression that I'm inducing via, you know, all this testosterone, especially now using a long ester, the more I need HCG. Yeah, the higher doses of HCG I need. So, you know, I've recently had to make the switch to 1400 IU twice a week. So that's 2800 IU a week. That's a lot of fucking HCG. It does become expensive if you don't have a good UGL source. And even then, so it's expensive. If you're using Pregnal, forget it. It's fucking super expensive to do that. But I have noticed that the need for HCG and higher doses of testosterone is just higher for me personally at this stage. So we're going to continue running that. But the point I want to make regarding that is, look, on TRT, you don't understand unless you're testing LH, FSH, and even then, so you really got to test downstream hormones like pregnenolone, DHEA, the level of suppression you're having. And so it's entirely possible that, you know, you're using HCG wrong. People say, well, you need 250 every other day to keep the intratesticular testosterone functioning. I don't think that those studies were in the presence of exogenous testosterone. And if so, if they were, how much exogenous testosterone was in the mix? Bottom line is people might need more HCG, and I really wouldn't be too concerned about it raising estradiol. You've got tools for that. But, you know, importantly, maybe your HCG dose is underdosed, and maybe you need to be shooting 1,000 IU twice a week, right? I think, you know, in those cases, if it is the case that you need more, your problems on TRT are going to go away, especially the sexual problems. Okay, I think that's it. So let's get to questions here and start the discussion. Let me see if I can get to the top of the chat here. I've somehow lost the ability to move the chat. Okay, here we go. Cool. Simon Stone, do you ever use or prescribe to your clients the use of tamoxifen and lower estrogen? No. I know it's primarily a serum, but some metabolites can exhibit high effects in lower estrogen. Definitely. I mean, it's effective for reducing gyno and, you know, basically all but curing gynecomastia in some individuals. I haven't found a need to use it. I don't think I would. It's like, quite honestly, unless I had someone with an estrogen, an estrogen facilitating tumor, I wouldn't use it. I just wouldn't use it. There are cardiac issues associated with this drug. And that's just not something that I want to get into or push or feel the necessity to use. So no, I've never used it. I don't prescribe or suggest people use it. I don't prescribe anyone anything because I'm not a doctor. And this isn't to say that it might not be effective or might not be useful for people. I mean, who knows, right? It all depends on the context. Plenty of people on heavy cycles for whatever reason are using tamoxifen, likely to lower the threat of gyno. Running 700 milligrams. I'm just lucky, I guess, running 700 of test, estrogen at 95 at its peak. I've gotten that fucking down, believe me. I haven't had any degree of gyno. I've not even had itchy nipples, honestly. The only time that ever happens is if I actually apply estradiol cream to my body, which I've had to do in cases of taking my estrogen too fucking low and feeling terrible and having broke dick syndrome. Ryan, good morning. Hope you're great. Rich, thank you, man. All right, Jordan G in it with a super chat right off the bat to start us off. Let's go. Jordan says, been using Anavar 25 to 37.5 milligrams a day. Feel really great on it. No side effects, no real side effects. I'm told by the clinic to cycle off for liver. Could I run another DHT option in its place? Yeah, I mean, what would be comparable? To get that dry vascular look that I'm sure Anavar gives you, Primo or Proviron would do that. Proviron makes you just chiseled and kind of gives you a more chiseled looking physique. You might seem like you have less mass, but your physique is much more cut and you're a lot more fucking vascular. Than there's dick benefits to Proviron usually, as long as you're not taking estrogen too low. Primo's pretty awesome. I've got clients using Primobolan. We're managing the doses and according to their testosterone doses, right, as to not squash estrogen. And, just like any other DHT derivative, Primobolan is going to lower your SHBG, which is usually fine. You don't really notice Primo. You don't even really feel like there's anything going on. You might notice lower estrogen after a while, but it's ultimately that, stuff at the gym is lighter. You just feel like you can lift more weight and you see your body morphing into much more of a thin, shapely bodybuilder type of look, assuming that you're not stuffing your face with calories and trying to be an actual bodybuilder. So, in this case, in terms of gains, your best bet is Primobolan or Masteron. That'd be my suggestion. I wouldn't, as far as gains go, I wouldn't really be running Proviron for gains. Although Proviron will give you a very sculpted, lean physique that does have your muscles popping more. It's just not really going to contribute all that much to like significant mass. And so, those would be my suggestions if I were you. Like if I was you and I loved the effect of Anavar, which I'm sure you fucking do, because it just bulks you up and gets you stronger quick, then Primo or Masteron would be it. Yeah, definitely. You could always just increase the amount of testosterone that you have to. If you don't want to run DHTs, if it's frying your fucking hairline or if it's doing something with your sexual function, because they can too, mess it up because it's lowering estrogen too much. Then you could just, I don't know what dose of testosterone you're at, but you could push 400, 500 and, make sure you have these other necessary compounds to make you tolerate more testosterone, like pregnenolone and DHEA will allow you to tolerate more testosterone than usual, as well as doing cardio so that your blood flow dynamics are not burdened and your hematocrit doesn't creep super above range. Then you're going to feel pretty fucking good on high levels of testosterone. That'd be my suggestion. Great question, bro. Good luck. And, I'm sure you're looking awesome, dude. If you can find one of those image upload sites and post your physique progress, I'm sure you're looking like a beast. Madden fan, very low estrogen converter. Should they add HCG to TRT to bring it up, or DHA pregnenolone make a difference? All of these things will make a difference, actually. DHEA specifically in males, in addition to aiding your conversion to DHT and adding libido benefits from the brain side of things. People often miss this and forget about DHEA. It's very fucking important in a TRT protocol. Also, you'll convert, some of that DHEA into estradiol. Okay. So, for those of you that are sensitive to estrogen, that might not be a great idea, or you want to low dose it. But for those of you that need to bring up the estrogen, then definitely DHA is going to help. Pregnenolone is, yeah, sure. You'll convert to all estrogens actually using pregnenolone, but not to the extent I think compared to DHEA. Pregnenolone, tends to via progesterone balance estrogen out a little more. So who knows? Ultimately, HCG, yes, to a threshold, right? I mean, the higher the dose you go on HCG, the more you're going to, upregulate all the intratesticular stuff, which means intratesticular aromatase via intratesticular testosterone production. So yes, definitely. If you're a low estrogen converter and you feel like that's a problem, all of this is going to help. And you might need to run DHEA in like 50 milligrams a day, maybe more. I've seen all manner of shit. Worst comes to worst, go on Amazon and search for estradiol USP and get estradiol cream. It's this pump of cream that you can rub on your forearms and start applying estradiol to your forearms, a couple pumps a day or a couple pumps every other day, whenever you feel like you need it. And probably you're going to recognize that your libido shoots up and you generally feel better, or you reach the right balance. That's the one thing about estrogen, is that it's like, you don't want it too high, you don't want it too low, but it is all, it's all relative to your testosterone dose. I mean, the ratio gets fucked up. You could be at 60 of estrogen or 50 and feel like you have low estrogen if you're sitting very, very sky high on testosterone. For like most people, this is the fucking case. For me, it certainly is. And so like you kind of need that estrogen to get in whatever ratio you found to be like really, really good for you. Maybe your test needs to be 40 times higher than your estrogen, maybe 30 times higher than your estrogen. You've got to figure that out by ultimately running labs when you feel your best and your dick functions really well, then calculating the ratio of where you are. And when you scale up in testosterone, you try to reach that ratio regardless moving forward. Yeah, brother. But yeah, I mean, this is a problem for a smaller subset of people, obviously. And maybe it has to do with the lack of testicular aromatase. For people that do not drink alcohol and, are very selective about what they put in their bodies food wise, those people, and are very healthy otherwise, like regarding insulin and blood glucose and thyroid hormones, these kinds of things that modulate aromatase to a degree. Those people might under aromatize and might need to use some estradiol cream or something, or maybe some injectable estradiol cypionate. Who knows? Estradiol tablets. I mean, those are perfectly viable options. You don't want to overlook that just because estrogen is bad in certain contexts. It could be also very good in other contexts. So, Chris is saying, thanks for the content, brother. I look forward to Saturday live streams. Prop for the win. Yes, my pleasure. You're welcome. But prop right now from Empower, at least, is not available. I just went on there to confirm or deny this. And, testosterone propionate is not an option on Defy Medical's store at the moment. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of why. So this week I will probably have an answer on what the fuck is happening there. UGL, worst case scenario. And then people that respond very well to prop, just if it becomes unavailable mainstream for some stupid fucking reason, just use testosterone cream. Okay. On the testicles or on the shoulders. People respond differently to cream in that regard, and that, some people make too much DHT from the intratesticular or the extratesticular application, and that fucks with their balance. Not enough estrogen, right, in that particular case, or just too much DHT compared to the rest of the hormones, and then everything gets fucked up and they got to rub it on their shoulders instead, and then everything works great. So prop for the win for sure, but right now it's looking a little weird, and I'll have an answer on that ASAP. Simon Stone, when using Proviron at 25 milligrams or 50 milligrams a day for its AI effects, what would be the equivalent dosages to use for compounds like Masteron or Primo? Don't know. There are none. Yeah, that's not been established, so you're just going to have to experiment. If I were to take a guess at it, Primo's pretty strong at lowering estrogen. I got to tell you that, man. I haven't really reported on it, but I have used it in my cycle to see what it would do. And it fucking lowered my estrogen. That's for sure. One time to the point kind of in the mid-level, in the middle of the cycle where, I'd lost some erectile quality for, a brief period. And then I had to get the estrogen back up slightly. But, it's all very fucking powerful. this is also dependent on your testosterone dose, right? You have to look at it relative to your testosterone dose for sure. Like usually with Primobolan as an example, you don't want to run a 1-1 ratio. We don't want to run 200 milligrams testosterone and 200 milligrams Primobolan at the same time. That's probably going to take the estrogen a little lower than you're going to feel good, than you would like, or that your body would like. You'll complain about that. Your body's going to start fucking complaining about that eventually, if not right away. And so you'd want to run like 200 of testosterone and maybe 70 milligrams a week of Primobolan. On, you know, what was at the time 700 milligrams of testosterone propionate, running 60 milligrams of Primobolan took my, just one dose of intramuscular Primobolan, took my estrogen down far enough where it started fucking with my dick for like a day and a half. I'm like, okay, all right. And then it bounced back because estrogen was able to bounce back via all the androgens, but you know, just something to consider. So it's all relative, man. It's all relative to your testosterone dose. You know, don't dose the shit too high because you don't want to crush your estrogen. You got to find the sweet spot. You know, for people with Proviron, some of them it's 12.5 milligrams a day, 12.5 every other day, 12.5 in the morning, 12.5 in the evening. It's going to depend on you, but there really is no translation. I wish there was. Jordan, thanks for your response. DHT for sure is epic for physique building. Absolutely. And leanness, but also find the libido benefits are great and feels like I have more dopamine around. Yeah, there's, I'll tell you what, I've even using exogenous DHT, there's a different feel in terms of that masculine, like completely fucking dominating, super fucking confident state that you get with Proviron. Proviron, when I'm running Proviron, even if it's 12.5 milligrams a day, but especially 12.5 twice a day, when I go out in public, dude, when I'm around fucking women, I'm just so stone cold confident. At the gym, I just feel like I'm the golden child. It feels like, if it sounds arrogant, but I'm so fucking confident on that shit. So it must be doing something, obviously, to the brain side of things, and you know, likely a dopaminergic effect. Because the thing that I can compare it to is back in the day dosing uridine a lot. Uridine monophosphate, a pretty dopaminergic nootropic. So yeah, man, DHT itself is powerful, but for that crazy confident feeling, yeah, nothing but Proviron has ever touched. You know, it's like has ever done it at that level. Nothing touches Proviron in terms of that feeling. It's so fucking crazy, dude. I love Proviron. I just ordered more just to have it because I like running it. I just like running it. Lewis, been on TRT, 125 milligrams testosterone NFA and 25 milligrams DHT for a few months. Now I've added 12.5 milligrams Proviron every morning and even 3 weeks ago, but literally nothing has happened in terms of libido. Any ideas? What are your, first of all, 125 milligrams testosterone NFA a week and 25 milligrams DHEA. I really don't see you needing estrogen control in that particular case, right? No, everybody's different, and I'm willing to accept that. But you know, your problem may not be that you need to lower estrogen, and the problem could be that you need estrogen to be slightly higher in order for the balance of hormones to fit your ratio. Which, if you haven't identified that, that's your first fucking problem. You know, if you haven't identified that your test needs to be 32 times higher or 35 times higher or 40 times higher than your estrogen, that's like square one. You got to identify how much, what the ratio of test to estrogen has to be for you. Secondarily, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, maybe you need more Proviron. You know, maybe you need to run 12.5 in the morning and 12.5 in the evening in order to get the most maximized benefits of it. I've seen that. I mean, that's very common as well. I wouldn't push any higher than that right now on that testosterone dose. You're probably not going to need any more. But look, libido is driven by so many things on testosterone, but it's like you have to, estrogen's the fucking mediator. It's got to be where it needs to be for libido. If it's lower, you know, your libido is going to suffer. If it's too high, you got to push it really high for libido to start suffering, but first you'll have erectile issues at that point. You know, then still it's going to be a problem. But what people also continue to fail to understand about testosterone is that you are, by stopping luteinizing hormone from signaling, you're becoming deficient in all manner of hormones, but particularly DHEA and pregnenolone. And no, HCG doesn't guarantee you're going to make adequate amounts of those things. Go test them. You know, of these hot shots think, well, I'm just supposed to have HCG. That's covers it. It doesn't always fucking cover it. Because I've seen bloods where all that shit, DHA, DHA sulfate, pregnenolone, progesterone, bottomed out on HCG. All right. So it could be the case that you need to be taking pregnenolone in addition to this DHA. Maybe you need more DHA. I've got guys running 50 a day and that's what they need. I've had guys where I've had to fucking run crazy doses of DHA to get erectile quality and a libido back, like 200 milligrams a day for certain periods of time. And then they were fine at a maintenance dose of something like 50, still a high dose. So I'd have to, you know, I'm looking at this in the context of everything, and you should too. Just throwing Proviron on top of a protocol, you know, and expecting it to do something without factoring in all these other things is haphazard. So you need to consider that. Brother Darren, what do you think is going to affect hair loss more? 35 milligrams testosterone NFA 3 times a week or 15 milligrams test prop daily? I think for someone super susceptible, would probably be the test prop daily, because you're going to get peaks and you'll get these like peaks of DHT that happen quickly. Yeah, that day, but they sort of happen in a condensed fashion rather than a spread out, you know, more even keel of DHT production or DHT conversion, which it will be easier on your hair. Yeah, for sure on the cycle of test prop, I was losing hair, you know, definitely. Whereas just lower dose anathate, that stopped, you know, lower dose, it's 525 a week, but still lower dose. So that's what I would suggest you do. You know, I mean, that's what I would say. I think that prop is probably going to cause a little more. 15 a day though, I mean, what is that, 115, 105 a week? That's not a lot. You know, whereas you're running 125 with anything. I still think the prop is probably going to do it. Orlando Jr., what's up, dude? I'm going to run DHT cream with MK677 for PE, premature ejaculation, perhaps, and pump, or what's the, doesn't PE stand for like penis enlargement? And pump, but I'm trying to minimize the hair loss with finasteride and RU. Is there any way I can microdose DHT cream only? My personal opinion on that is I wouldn't run DHT cream without test. Yeah. Because I mean, for fear of it antagonizing estrogen too much, that would be my personal fear, because I need enough estrogen for my fucking dick to work and for my libido to function. So I wouldn't be doing that. Again, you really don't want to run DHT derivatives or DHT itself without tests. Yeah, I just don't see a case for that unless it's a serious sexual dysfunction case, usually induced by fucking citalopram or sertraline. These are serotonin drugs, or finasteride, which I'm surprised you are on this channel and you take that shit, because it's terrible for you. And I've done a documentary on that. Unless people have those serious issues, running DHT derivatives or DHT alone is not a good idea. Very few people I've had run purely Proviron alone without tests, and that worked for them because of their situation, in that they over aromatize via fucking taking some of these drugs. You want to be careful, bro. Really want to be careful. Mike, good morning. Appreciate the content, learning a lot. Awesome. Big ups to you. What are your thoughts on creatine? Not a whole lot. I mean, useful for allowing more water in the muscles. Like, it is anabolic. Creatine is anabolic. It is mildly anabolic. I'll tell you what, though, it does. I've had a couple sexual dysfunction, you know, people on it. Like, people have gotten dick problems using creatine, and I couldn't really figure out why. You know, there's one paper on it, which is not nearly enough. We need a lot more, saying that it increases DHT or can increase 5-alpha reductase expression. And then, but what we do know about it is that it does agonize a particularly troublesome serotonin receptor, which, you know, inhibits dopamine firing pathways in the brain. If you agonize it too consistently, it's the 5-HT1A receptor, serotonin receptor. So that is a problem for some people. For others, doesn't matter at all, right? You know, Ryan Parks, is nothing arrogant about being confident, homie. Worst comes to worst, you go back on longer ester. Like, kind of thing. Yeah. Well, for TRT, I really wouldn't. Right now, I am on testosterone anathate. You know, I've moved down from 700 of prop to 525 of anathate. Because of hair loss and, you know, a couple other things. I am cycling down now. I am cycling down to get off of this cycle, ultimately, where I'm going to be, you know, maybe on 350 of test anathate, or equivalent of about 400 milligrams a week of test cream. Because I really do like that fast acting shit, man. Really like it. But this was in the context of how Proviron makes you confident like a motherfucker, dude. It's just so crazy, dude. I love it. It's like it will eventually tank my estrogen if I take a lot of Proviron, so I've got to be careful with it. Even on high doses of testosterone, but I love how it makes me feel, dude. I love Proviron. Love it. Just got more. Just love it. Fucking love it. If it gave me side effects, I would take it, but it doesn't really. All right, Simon Stone, when you experiment with the DHT derivatives, do you use fast testers like props so you can dial in faster, like you say, test properties and anything? You're always going to be able to dial in faster using fast acting shit regardless. So, if you're using Proviron, and which you can dial in very quick on because it's a 12-hour half-life, it's in your system for 24 hours, 30 hours max, then it's pretty much out. Then yeah, like if you want to dial in quicker, you're going to want to use a fast ester, just kind of no matter what. This is the thing I personally dislike about long esters, is that you got to wait 4 fucking weeks, dude. You really do. Because the effect you're going to have on the sexual system, on everything, at week 1.5 is going to be different at week 4. Every time I've had to redial in on a long ester, like shit might have been a little murky at week 1.5 or week 2 or whatever, but it was totally different in week 4. Like erections came back and libido came back in like week 4. So I hate that because first of all, I'm dating and I don't like my erections being fucking suboptimal. And secondly, who wants to wait that long? Who wants to wait that long? I truly, like I have converted over to, I'm on a cycle of NF8 right now, but this is different. This is not TRT. To where with TRT, I'm just going to use short, fast acting shit, for the most part. I mean, who knows? I can make everything work if there's some shortage of cream or something, then whatever. But ultimately, yeah, you just get to dial in faster on shorter acting stuff. CJP wants me to run some master on propionate. Yeah. I have a source. I just haven't gotten it or felt the need to get it. I'm sensitive at this stage to things that lower estrogen, just because I have a lot of fucking tests in my system. So, I'm not really wanting to fuck with that at the moment, but I will have to do it for experiment, for science, and to talk about it on the channel. And I'm excited to do it. There's a lot of shit that I still need to run and that I still will run. I mean, I've got some Anavar that I've had for 5-6 months that, I've disciplined myself not to use and I haven't used yet. So, I mean, that's in the future at some point as well. Mohammed, is there benefits for someone natty to use Proviron? Is only useful on TRT? Again, you rarely want to use Proviron without a test base because it's going to take estrogen too low, and that's going to give you joint pain and probably mess with your erections. So the cases where this is useful is people who over aromatize, which are people coming from the use of finasteride or SSRIs, mostly finasteride though. Yeah, if anybody is having problems on TRT in terms of not getting some effect or the other, one thing you always have in the tool shed is to go deep intramuscular, get a 1.5-inch needle and go in the quad all the way in, or the delt, or the glute, but go all the way deep intramuscular. Yep. I mean, that solves a lot of people's problems. I can't explain it. Other than in the subcutaneous tissue, which is extravascular tissue, which means you don't have fucking blood vessels there. You can't uptake as much as enough testosterone, as much testosterone as you might need. You can't uptake at a time enough to be metabolized to go through this whole process. You don't get enough at a time. Also, though, in the subcutaneous tissue, it's just a lot. What is there, 3 fucking studies? Like, come on. It's relatively new, and plenty of people don't get good responses from sub-Q. That's just true. But in that sub-Q tissue, I don't know. Are we triggering some sort of inflammatory response in some individuals? Are we getting loss of material? The sub-Q tissue, the depot, meaning the deposition of the testosterone, can really only disperse horizontally, and like, does some of it metabolize out completely and not give you the testosterone that you're looking for? I don't think that's a far-fetched idea. Whereas in the intramuscular depot, you have vertical and horizontal space for the testosterone to spread out. And where's it going to spread? The blood vessels to be taken into the system. So, people just ultimately end up getting a better response so long as they can tolerate it. Some people can't tolerate intramuscular injections of testosterone because it's a lot of testosterone uptake. And there's always ways around that. DHEA, pregnenolone are huge fucking facilitators of being able to tolerate more tests, especially pregnenolone. Kind of chills you out so that you're not super anxious. Again, back in the day, the beginning of using TRT, I couldn't even dose like any more than 150 at a time. Now I dose 150 every other day right now, on this cycle, and I feel great. Christopher, with prop, I noticed straight up, I stand up straight with my chest out and I walk more confidently. People definitely notice. I really think women can sense it. It has done wonders for my sales and business. Yeah, great. That's good. Hell yeah. Well, you got to be confident for sales. That's for fucking sure, dude. Yep. You got to know what you're talking about for sales. I do meetings with my web company and I'm going in Pittsburgh in the city to like these big organizations, just me, to sell them on, using my company for web design, building their websites. And fuck yeah, man, got to be confident for that shit. But, I would wager that, yeah, you're getting super physiologic tests very quickly. You're getting more of a bolus conversion of DHT pretty quickly with using prop. And that's what you're noticing here. As far as women go, oh yeah, they fucking sense it. They sense it. Dude, as much as the culture is telling you that, you should be the guy that sits across the table at the first date with his hands folded like a fucking good boy, women hate that shit. They are not they can't gauge the sexual chemistry. Women are emotional creatures, man. They need to identify where the sexual chemistry is. I break the touch barrier in 5 minutes on a date. I kiss a girl on the cheek the moment we meet. If I've never met her before, I'm kissing her on the cheek the moment we fucking meet. At the table, I'm touching her leg, I'm touching her hips, I'm rubbing her back. And most of them say, I really like that you're fucking touching me right now, because most guys will sit across the table like a good boy and fucking won't do shit. So women sense masculinity and they actually fucking love it. Unless they're ideologically taken prisoner, by left-wing ideology and, they're like feminist ideology, and then they're wacky completely. I've dated a couple of those very briefly. When I really confirmed that they were like that, I was like, all right, I'm out. Bye-bye. We got some inner chat discussion here. Nosy Blacklight, when running test prop 20 milligrams every day, thoughts on doubling the dose on days you want to boost? Sure. You might dial out instead of dialing in. If you're dialed in, you'll dial out probably. But who knows? You might respond fine to it. Yeah. Again, as long as you have enough HCG for you, enough DHEA for you, enough pregnenolone for you, you can experiment a lot and kind of go into the deep end, and things are still going to be good. Again, it took a while for me to start having dick problems on cycle. It took a while. It took like a month. And then I was like, okay, I'm definitely having dick problems now. I got to figure that out. Right. So, but that's in a completely different context, and an additional 20 milligrams a day, not a problem. I loved 40 milligrams a day of prop. Actually, that's one of my greatest protocols, where sure, I had ancillaries, DHA, pregnenolone, HCG. They needed to be dialed in, calcium D-glucarate in that particular case. But as long as that shit was dialed in, I was walking boner, and I felt really horny on that. On 40 milligrams of prop every day, I had very high libido. But what you should do is experiment with this first and see how it affects you, and then do it for a social event. I tell you this though, like for me, when I know I'm in my sweet spot in terms of ratios, I can push the envelope for shit like that. But for me, it's dates. I'll put a little more cream on or inject a little more testosterone or something, and then I'm just, I'm visibly bigger. My muscles fucking pop a little more. Like literally later that day, as whatever testosterone I injected is peaking. More horny, all that kind of stuff. Dr. Phil is here. What's up? Is it the Adam Ray Dr. Phil or the real Dr. Phil? Hi, brother. How to heal lumps from intramuscular injection on TRT using pharma-grade anything and castor oil, and I have a lot of lumps in my glutes and shoulders. What can I do to heal them or make them smaller? Ice packs. I've not run into that personally, so I don't know why that's happening to you. And why that doesn't happen to other people. It's causing some sort of localized inflammatory response, obviously. Maybe it's the castor oil. I don't know a whole lot about castor oil, except for that it extends the half-life of these drugs, according to Vigorous Steve, for a lot longer than they would usually be. And, testosterone anethane already has a 5-day half-life. So that castor oil is probably extending that. And so maybe it's just, I don't know. It's just sitting in the tissue longer or what. What is the size needle you're using? Like maybe the needle itself, because it's so fucking big, is causing problems. I know on this test cycle, running deep intramuscular tests, I recently made the switch to 1.5 inch. God, are they 25 gauge? They're fucking thin. They're thin. It feels like an insulin pin, but it's 1.5 inches. A little thicker than an insulin syringe. And now my injection sites hurt way less. They just never really hurt significantly, but they don't. I've had some of this before where it was just sore, just the injection sites were sore, and that wasn't because of prop. You might want to just look at different needles. Mohammed, sorry for the newbie question, but is test, prop, HCG, and proviron together sustainable long-term if not? And yes. Yep, all that can be taken ongoingly. The only things to monitor are, estradiol, make sure it doesn't go too low. And in rare cases, sex hormone binding globulin will go too low and you'll lose libido a little bit. And I don't know to the degree to which it's going to affect erections. It hasn't in my experience with people, but can fuck with libido. But that's very rare. It's very rare. I got guys running proviron year round and it's like 35, 40 people. So not an issue with those bros, homie. Ryan Parsons, do you think that estrogen sensitivity has to correlate with your lower body fat? Do I think that estrogen sensitivity is correlating with lower body fat? I don't know. I can tell you this, when my body fat was like higher and I was drinking, which I don't fucking do now. I just don't care about booze, and I'm so much happier and I feel so much better consistently. I consistently feel good. If I drink alcohol, like dating and whatever, I don't consistently feel good. I'll feel subpar for fucking 24 to 48 hours after drinking. I hate that. If there's something I hate, if there's one thing I hate the most about how I feel, it's feeling inconsistent. I want to feel like a killer from 6 a.m. until 10:30 when I go to sleep. And I do that not drinking, among other things, obviously. But anyway, when I was drinking a lot on TRT in the beginning, I had I had a lot of fucking bloating. I had a lot of bloating. I had itchy nipples, which I do not get anymore, even at 95 estradiol. It doesn't happen. Just dick problems when the estrogen gets too high, and libido gets a little muted and orgasms get muted if the estrogen gets too high. But, dude, I had like the classical estrogen symptoms when I drank, which was correlated with my body fat as well. So body fat plus booze equals sensitivity to estrogen. Pretty low body fat, no booze. Again, I have the labs actually, dude. Look at this. That was my estradiol in the peak of my cycle, man. No itchy nipples, no nothing. Just a little bit of dick problems at that point, and some mildly muted libido. I've since gotten that down, but just goes to show you, like, body fat, yes. Booze especially. You're gonna fucking feel that estrogen then. A lot of people's responses to estrogen is, as much as I hate to admit this, if it's not dick problems, which, you're not gonna be able to fix, you got to get the estrogen lower. If it's all these other issues like water retention, etc., it is lifestyle. Like if I can tolerate 95, well, I'm doing a lot of the right things, most of the right things. The only thing I fucking do that's bad is like I snack on this pastry thing like every day. It's not a whole lot, but it's like I need a break from. I need some good food every now and then. Muhammad, is injecting every day or every other day optimal for test prop? Good question. It depends. It depends on you. I mean, I don't really know what determines what's effective versus not, or what the best route would be. Aside from you maybe needing more androgens at once or less androgens at once via, too much conversion to estrogen. I can make them both work, and you should be able to too. It's really about dialing in the ancillaries, right? Dial in your DHEA, dial in your pregnenolone, dial in your HCG dose, dial in your anti-estrogen if you need one. That's where it really matters. Those are the things that matter. You can run, if you're running 30 a day, you can run 60 every other day and make that work. You just might need to slightly modify the other compounds in your regimen that ultimately make a TRT protocol. Gray A, I've heard you speak positive about Test Cream. What specifically do you like about it? I like that it peaks right away. When I'm running cream, I'm running it in the morning. Shoulders or the testicles both work for me. Shoulders probably a little better, a lot more androgen receptors, maybe more blood vessels. I don't know, but I have tested that, and shoulders, testicles work, but shoulders really fucking work. Then I go to the gym, 40 minutes later, and I feel it right away. Whereas, like in the beginning of running a testosterone enanthate, my gym sessions, a cycle testosterone enanthate, my gym sessions sucked in the beginning because it was still building up. If you plot that out, man, it takes 5-6 injections of testosterone enanthate at 150 milligrams every other day to reach 1,500, 1,600 nanograms per deciliter total test, So I felt shitty working up to that, because of that reason. Whereas with cream, you go super physiologic in the matter of 3 hours, dude. And you're heading in that direction in 30 minutes. Yep. You're going to, it absorbs right away, dude. And your testosterone starts going like this right away. If you're in range or pretty dialed in with estrogen as well as ancillaries, like I'm having erections on the way to the gym when I'm running cream, just fucking out of nowhere. So yeah, that's what I like about it. Also, though, you can dial in quicker. You don't have to wait 4 fucking weeks, which is what on a long ester for TRT is what it really takes for you to notice the effect of that ester. Because then you're starting to reach kind of close to where you'll ultimately be on serum testosterone levels at week 4. It's gonna be a little higher at week 6, but you're close to that area at week 4. With cream, at day 7, you know where you're at. Day 14 even, okay, fine. Maybe it might take a little longer for some people, but that's way better than fucking 28 days or 30 days. It's just so much better. So that the cognitive feels, like the mental energy feels, are much different than any other ester for sure. Like you just feel more energized, more dopaminergic, and more confident, and all the brain stuff. Energy. Right away. Day 1, dude. Day 1 of dosing cream, you're gonna feel it. So that's why I like it. I like it for those reasons. And all things considered, even though now I can run high doses of long esters and not have problems, I used to have side effects with long esters at high doses. I never really had side effects at fucking super high doses of short esters, like ever. Yeah, I've leaned out for sure over time. It's the drugs, bro. It's the drugs. No. It's diet to a large extent. I could be on all manner of androgens and still look like shit. People do. But it's having a boring diet, dude. Which I love though. I love it. Bacon and eggs in the morning. It's not like I'm depriving myself at all. Bacon and eggs, bro. English muffin, some ketchup in the morning, some hot sauce, because I put Tabasco on everything, including cereal. Not cereal. And I eat shit that I fucking like. Lunch is a meal that's after my run and after a morning workout. Which is rice, protein, an avocado, maybe a vegetable, maybe not a vegetable. And then dinner, same template, tuber, protein, vegetable. I have a snack. I drink like 1 ginger ale a day. A couple times a week, I'll have one of those mini Coca-Colas because a good cold Coke is great. And that's it, Probably the leanest I've ever been is, maybe here. I don't know, but this is on high loads of testosterone. Not very lean there, but you can actually see, the muscle gain on this cycle there. All right, using a 27 gauge needle and still having lumps. Have you tried injecting in the legs? Thinking of giving my glutes and shoulders a break to heal. Yeah, give it a break. If anything, give the injection site a break so that you can, give it a fucking break, man. Because that shit will heal real quickly. Well, yeah, when I was running prop every day, I had that in my glutes a little bit. It was just sore, but that's also prop, Switch and injection locations definitely helps. Welcome, bro. Ramiel, good morning, bro. I'm doing Cypionate 160 milligrams per week. Labs came in at total T at 1236. Free T 383, estradiol 74. Feel good most days, but some days I feel really tired. Is one of those numbers too high? I don't think those numbers have anything to do with your tiredness. No. Yeah, I don't think any of those numbers have anything to do with it. Yeah. The TRT protocol might still be the culprit, but it might be a lack of pregnenolone. It might be a lack of DHT. It might be a lack of progesterone. Might be a lack of cortisol. I don't know. I would go run everything. Like I'd run morning cortisol and see where cortisol is in the morning. You know, if it's sitting at 18 or something, you're good to go and you can ride off into the sunset and forget about that, but then move on to another blood marker. Look at your blood glucose. Where's that? Where's that postprandial, post meal? If it's shooting up too high and then bouncing back too low, you're going to fucking feel tired. You know, these things matter a lot. Look at your thyroid labs. If they're fucked up, then you're going to feel fucking tired. You know, if you're doing one of these wacky diets where you're intermittent fasting for 16 fucking hours because Dave Asprey said it was cool, or your favorite whoever said it was cool, and it doesn't work for everybody, you're going to feel fucking tired, especially if you're working out. So you need to look at all these other things. I don't think that this is going to make you tired. Estradiol at 74 is certainly high. That might be fine for you, or it might need to be lower. You might want to look at that as well. But none of this is going to make you tired. Yeah, it shouldn't be tired. No, look, there are people that for whatever reason, like taking androgens and getting them pretty high, which 1236 in my like world is not high, but in your world it might be high. Causes some sort of androgen induced fatigue. It's like this weird lethargy. And I don't know what that is aside from troughing too fast. Yeah, because you got a lot of tests in the system, your body trying to clear it out. I don't think it's associated with hematocrit, or thicker blood. I've just not seen that correlation in an actual logical view of that. Looking at bloods in these people, it happens more on their troughs. So something's happening fucking there. So yeah, and you might want to inject a little more frequently, or inject more. I know that sounds counterintuitive, maybe inject more. If that estradiol keeps creeping up though, you're probably going to want to manage that. Mohammed, do you feel less bloated on shorter esters? 100%. From my research comparing shorter esters and longer esters, just can't see the benefits of longer esters other than injecting less often. Exactly. That's pretty much what I've come to understand too. Yeah, I don't get bloated anymore at all. I mean, I'll get a little bit on longer esters. Like I'm on testosterone now, 525 a week. I don't have, like, my stomach doesn't feel bloated, but I'm holding a little more water probably, like this image was me, holding a little more water. And then here I'm holding a lot less fucking water. You can kind of tell. Both were testosterone though. I just, changed some things in my diet here and went in a slight deficit for a few days. And then you can actually see what the fuck I'm actually gaining here on this thing. So yeah, I mean, they are. The less stuff you have sticking around, the less side effects you're going to get from said stuff, particularly estradiol. So also though, again, as I explained, I don't drink alcohol anymore and my body fat is low and I eat very well, just real food all the time, like 95% of my diet. So when I drank and when I was higher body fat, I was bloated and I had moon face and all that shit. I've got pictures of me in the very beginning of TRT when my lifestyle wasn't straight and I looked like shit. My fucking face was super fucking bloated, ultra bloated. I had a legit moon face. I look at it now and I'm like, dude, I looked fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. Freddy's here. Why do I really feel amped up or anxious on 10 milligrams propionate in comparison to testostepone 20 milligrams every day? I don't have those side effects. Have you seen something similar? Yeah, you just need to work your body into being able to tolerate that, and you will. I would start taking DHT and pregnenolone because they're going to have balances on the neurological side of overstimulation in response to androgens. So that's probably your answer there. Yeah, you might be peaking very high. Some people I've seen peak above 1500, meaning like the regular testosterone dose. The regular testosterone test can't measure where their testosterone goes because it's above 1500 on 15 milligrams prop a day. That doesn't happen to me, but it does happen to some people. So yeah, you're going higher than you normally go. Estrogen though, because maybe you're a hyper responder to prop, can make you fucking feel amped out of your mind for sure. But yeah, look at the ancillaries again. The more tests you bring in, even if it's prop, if it's high dose prop or you're going very high, the more suppression you're going to have, the less LH you're making, the less pregnenolone you're making. That pregnenolone fucking regulates people's responses. You're actually going to find anecdotals out there of people not being able to tolerate higher doses of test until they bring in pregnenolone to the regimen and then they can tolerate it. So those are the things I would be looking at if I were you, bro. Again, maybe lifestyle as well. I couldn't tolerate 150 at a time of Cypionate back in the day. when I first started fucking with androgens, and I was drinking alcohol, and I, was not lean, and I wasn't eating well. Was I smoking pot then? No, I hadn't smoked pot in a while. My diet and lifestyle cleaned up, and I'm running, doing cardio every day, and I can tolerate that too. You dramatically change your neurotransmitter profile just from 2 miles a day of cardio. Just do 2 miles. You don't gotta be running marathons. I'm certainly not. Get that heart rate up, get your blood flowing, get the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is induced by cardio specifically. Do HIIT, okay? Do some HIIT. If you want to minimize like the effort, just go find a field and sprint. 40 seconds, stop, recover, sprint. Do that 10 times. Do it every other day. All those things I just suggested would probably change this response for you for sure. Hair loss is good. Again, I've moved down to 525 milligrams a week of testosterone enanthate from 700 a week of test prop, and the hair loss stopped even while running exogenous DHT. Telling you, man, I fucking have good hair genes, but I'm taking 400 milligrams of tocotrienols, which are proven to regrow hair, and I'm derma rolling when I start to see my hair thin, and I can feel it, and I can actually fucking see it in the sink and whatever. I'm derma rolling, and then it's good. But importantly, I have good hair genes. That's just the bottom fucking line. I do. My grandfather died with a full head of hair. I was born with a full head of hair. My sister's babies are born with a full head of hair. Everybody on that side has good hair genes. So that's just it. I mean, I know people that are 33 years old that already have close to a Norwood fucking 6, dude. All their hair here. They have no hair here. Their hairline, all this shit is completely receded. You have a bald spot all over the top. And then they've got kind of my hairstyle back here. Genes. That's genes for those people, for fucking sure. But right now it's great. And when I go back to just TRT doses, or it's going to be higher than TRT doses, 350, 400. It's what I'm going to try to get away with. I won't have any hair loss. Tocotrienols, derma rolling, genes. That's my position at this point. Why is testosterone cypionate the most popular prescribed by clinics? Easiest. That's why. I think it's a fucking subpar ester. I just do. For me and for a lot of people that I work with. So I don't know. It's lazy, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. Recently, I'm hearing that, Empower is going to stop making test prop, and it's not on Defy Medical's website anymore. So it's probably true, and we'll have to figure that out. I'll get to the bottom of it this week and let you guys know. But, in that case, in that stupid case, use cream. You'll always be able to get cream. Cream is a very popular testosterone modality. So, if you hate cypionate and you can't get prop for whatever reason, just use cream. Interestingly, even pretty limited clinics like Male Excel, which only has cypionate, but they also have cream. So some of these even limited clinics have cream. They've got transdermal cream, which does work. I've used their cream before back in the day. They were my first clinic, LXL. So, yeah. Just talked about this 2 minutes ago. Will the Androcty be in your source list when published? Yes. Yes, it will. Yeah, and I'm either going to, by launching the source list, we're going to probably push the prices up for these things. Like, these people recognize there's going to be a lot more business or whatever. And I'm sure some of you guys are going to make some of this shit out of stock. So I'm going to have to stock up before I launch that source list. Mr. Star from Turkey. I found DHT cream 4 days ago. I use not affecting my libido, but yet I feel more hard muscle, and I use underground 60 milliliters every other day of test prop. Do you think libido will be affected? It depends, man. Libido, again, is driven by estrogen being in the right spot, DHT being in the right spot, and then whether or not you've got the right add-ons to your protocol. If you're bottomed out in DHA and pregnenolone and the ensuing effect on neurosteroids and brain function, your libido is going to suffer. If you have a lack of hormone balance, meaning that test DHT, estradiol, DHA, pregnenolone, progesterone, cortisol, all this prolactin, something's not in the right range for your body, you're not going to have good libido, good libido. If you're crushing your estrogen, you're not going to have good libido. So it's not that DHT has an effect on libido. Yeah, largely through increasing sensation in your penis and increasing ejaculatory volume and climax sensation and erectile quality. But, you know, libido is much more controlled by estrogen being in the right place and, you know, not having deficiencies in these other hormones. Again, you know, as I said in the beginning, you don't know the degree of suppression you're actually having on testosterone regarding luteinizing hormones. So some people need to be on fucking way higher doses of HCG than they're on. Can't get dialed in for 2 years, and then they start running 1,000 IU or 1,500 IU of HCG twice a week, and then they have their dick back. So something to think about. I don't know the translation to nanograms per milliliter, so I don't know. The reference range is 4 to 19. No, that's not high. Not at all. I wouldn't use cabergoline to lower that at 7 if the reference range is 4 to 19. No way. I mean, you'll take it down you'll take it down the very bottom, which isn't bad, by the way. You know, people say that like low prolactin gives them libido issues. No, there's no disease associated with low prolactin in men. There is no disease associated with low prolactin in men. But there are plenty of diseases associated with high prolactin in men. I've taken mine down to 1.9 nanograms per milliliter. All I had was fucking boner city and a great refractory period. Yes, please look into DHA and pregnenolone and lifestyle as well. I don't know the answer to the question, but potentially. Derek Chadwick's been running prop 70 milligrams, it looks like every other day. Great dose. That's what, 35 a day? It's 245 a week, I think. Pretty good. Pretty fucking good. I mean, that's TRT. That's a TRT dose. I think that's great. It's a little on the high end, but I think it's great. Has the DHT or the 700 milligrams test impacted your PSA? I haven't tested PSA in quite a while, but last time it was like 0 point whatever. It was the lowest end of the range. Probably that's genetic. But I also don't drink. Dude, find any alcoholic in your life. By the time they're 55 or younger, they're going to have prostate problems. You know, all the alcoholics I know, all the male alcoholics I know have prostate problems. You know, one of them just had to have his fucking prostate removed and now probably has ED as a result of that for life. You know, unless you can figure that out, which I guess you can, but still it's going to have problems. Yeah. I don't do things that fuck with my prostate. Also though, estradiol, okay, estrogens in general are the primary drivers of issues with the prostate, on androgens or otherwise. Okay, I'm not sure how people haven't come to understand this. Just people repeating this DHT thing. The prostate makes its own DHT regardless, in an intracrine, intraprostate controlled fashion. The serum, there's studies on this. So, I mean, I don't even know why this is still a question. The serum of DHT, you would give people DHT and blow up their serum levels of dihydrotestosterone. It doesn't affect the fucking levels of DHT in the prostate. So no, prostate's great, bro. Wonder why? Well, I mean, it's not DHT. Good morning, bro. Give me something for joint pain besides Deca to take on Winnie pills. I mean, if you're taking Winstrol, that you're crushing your estrogen and you're gonna have joint issues, dude. Maybe high dose fish oil. Ultimately, you probably want to just increase the testosterone that you're on. You know, if you're on test, which I would hope you are. Yeah, if you're not on test, that's your fucking problem right there. I mean, with Winstrol, yeah, that is going to crush your estrogen and crush the lubrication of your joints, and you're gonna feel fucking terrible. So I would definitely get that up. You know, the greatest thing, the funny thing to me about like that DHT derivative, which is so much more powerful than like most other DHT derivatives, is that actual DHT doesn't do that. You know, whereas fucking Winstrol does that. But DHT itself doesn't. I feel really good on just pure DHT. Derek Chadwick, I've been running 70 milligrams probably every other day. If I want to switch testosterone anything in the future, what's a good protocol for transitioning? So this is it's not hard, but it is a good question because you're going to be used to high levels of testosterone, especially tests that's peaking very quickly. And then it's going to take you 5 injections of 150 milligrams every other day to reach 1600 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone. So what I would suggest you do, which you're probably not going to want to do that because that's a full blown fucking test cycle, right? Or a medium level test cycle of 525 a week, which is what I'm on. So what I would do if I were you though, is whatever testosterone enanthate dose you end up on, if it's 70 milligrams every other day, keep that. You know, if that ends up working for you, fine. Whatever it is, front load the test enanthate. That's what I would do. meaning inject 200 on a Monday, 200 on a fucking Wednesday, another 200 on a Friday. If you can tolerate it, try to tolerate it. Take some pregnenolone, some DHEA, do some cardio, eat fucking well, don't drink. You want to be really mindful of your health in that period so that you can tolerate that much testosterone. You know, run 4 to 5 bolus injections of 150 to 200 milligrams, because then you'll build up to 15 to 1700 nanograms per deciliter, and then you can run your NSA dose thereafter. If you don't do that, you're probably going to feel terrible for 3 weeks until that testosterone reaches a reasonable state, you know, or 2 weeks. I mean, it's going to be different for different people, but yeah. Transitioning from prop to a long ester, think about it. That long ester has to go like that before it reaches its level. And that's going to take weeks. So, you know, your body's going to feel like it's in a testosterone deficiency. So front load on the NSA. That would be my suggestion. Do I know the difference on SHBG of Andractin versus Proviron? Nope. I mean, they both will antagonize SHBG to an extent. You know, I don't look at SHBG anymore because I tried to play the internet game of listening to people regarding SHBG, and it's never fucking been consequential ever. So I don't even look at it. Last check though was 25, you know, but I've had it at 13, 18, never did it mess with anything. As long as you have some, you know, you're good. There's a few unfortunate individuals out of 100 that will respond negatively to sub 10 SHBG. Devil Dog. What I was paying for 10 milligrams test through largest TRT companies, so 10 weeks worth, I found a clinic that is a third of the price. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I don't know off the top of my head the Tacotrienols brand. You can find it on Amazon. You just want to search for a strictly Tacotrienols based supplement. I personally think, look, my hair genetics play a big role in why I still have hair on large doses of testosterone. But on 700 a prop, I was losing it. I was fucking shedding and I noticed it. But like taking the Tacotrienols, man, I'm not having any hair loss. No, I lowered my dose to 525, but I'm telling you, they fucking work. The English team, on high doses of test, are you worried about side effects like left ventricular hypertrophy? No, that is induced by blood pressure issues, which I don't have. Yeah, I mean, I'm 110/70 most days. Even consuming 2 grams of sodium chloride in tablets when I do runs out in the heat. Nope, not concerned about it. On what'll ultimately be an 8 to 12 week cycle, no. You'd have to be running 2 to 3 grams for a year straight to even start to be concerned about that. And even then, so like, I mean, you got to go study people who are actually doing it and seeing how the heart actually responds. Forget about the studies. Look at people who are doing it. You know, Chase Irons, a bodybuilder who has been, you know, he's on grams of testosterone per week, shooting for 20,000 nanograms per deciliter. No heart enlargement, no chamber issues whatsoever. Guy just had a fucking comprehensive panel on all of that, organ imaging included. So no, at between 500 and 700 milligrams of test for a short cycle, I'm not worried about LVH. No way. Nosy Blacklight, what pregnenolone supplement do you take and how much do you suggest? I think it's pure encapsulations. It comes in a 30 milligram tablet, which I take once or twice a week. That's just enough for me. I don't know like what you should take though. 10 milligrams a day is a good starting point. If you can tolerate it, it doesn't fuck with anything and you feel good, bump it up to 20. You know, there are rare cases where people are taking 100 to 200 milligrams and they just love it. Libido's great. Erections are great. Don't know if that's going to be you. And I don't know what's driving that. Maybe just a serious deficiency over a long period of time from suppression via being on TRT. I don't know, but you know, start at 10, move your way up if you need to. Awesome. Take care of yourself too as well, bro. Josh, how can I handle higher doses of test? I've been over this. So DHA, pregnenolone, do cardio, stop drinking, eat real food, give that some time to balance out and you should be good. Yeah. Also time on androgens, you know, too. Like, it's like, yeah, I've done all these things that have made me able to tolerate higher levels of testosterone, but I've also been on androgens for years. And so it's like, you know, over time, I've slowly, you know, moved everything up. I really got my cardio. When I got back into running specifically, that changed a lot. You know, my hematocrit went down significantly. to like fucking sports anemia levels, 42 on 280 of test a week. That's unheard of. But it was a short ester, so that tends to happen. You get less of that stuff on short esters. Maybe just switch to a fucking fast acting ester like prop or use cream. But over time you get used to it. It's all the lifestyle stuff, but over time you get used to it. Yeah. When I first started taking the DHT gel, I had like a tension headache. You know, I had an actual headache on day 1. Was it day 2? I had a fucking headache. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to cause side effects. And then it just went away, and it went away. You know, so, but that's because I'm, you know, resilient to these kinds of things because of lifestyle. What have you done for hair loss? I've already addressed the hair loss. Tocotrienols, 400 milligrams a day, derma rolling, 1.5 millimeter derma roller twice weekly, plus good hair genetics. Regarding acne, it's not been bad at all. Acne I'm starting to get on the front of my body, not the back of my body. So you're seeing acne like here. That's really the only acne I've dealt with on cycle so far. You know, my shoulders are largely clear. There's just not acne back here. But I'm using gold. I'm using the gold version of Dial soap and scrubbing every day. That's an antibacterial soap, which is proven effective in fighting acne. So I'm scrubbing it every day. If I wasn't doing that, my fucking back would be substantially more oily and I would have more acne. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Madden fan, thank you, brother. Here's a question about collagen synthesis for which my joints don't feel sturdy. Added EQ and Anavar for joint repair. Consider Nandrolone, but sides suck. Well, what's the question? What would you want to add for collagen synthesis? Possibly some more collagen. Maybe take exogenous collagen. What would I add or change? What else? You're on EQ. That's equipoise, is it not? That's going to crush your estrogen. That's why you have joint problems. If you're running something that's crushing estrogen, that's why you've got joint problems. 100%. Will I come up with a supplement for optimal testosterone management? No. You can take aniracetam with torque. Yeah, should be fine. Yes. I mean, it's not going to cause any side effects or like serious problems or whatever. May not jive well with you, but you know, also may jive totally well with you. No, I'm just, again, I've converted to using exogenous androgens. So realizing how much more powerful they are than fenugreek and pine pollen and vitamin D and etc. for erasing testosterone. I would have a person inject HCG before taking 25 supplements to raise testosterone. Yeah, BPC is expensive, but will help. Jamaki's got random boners from Cab. Yep. Yeah, that's probably the dopamine agonism. That's probably what that is. I don't see another mechanism for that. I mean, sure, it could have reduced prolactin in a very short period, because it does in a very short period. You start, the suppression starts, you get the maximized prolactin reduction in like 3 hours, and then it stays bound to the dopamine D2 receptor for 60 fucking hours. Depending, you know, it'll disassociate eventually, but and for at a shorter time for certain people. But CAB is very powerful. It's a very powerful drug, man. Maybe your prolactin was a little overranged, but also dopamine, you know, through oxytocin mediated like spinal cord mechanisms, you know, is pro-erectile. So that's probably what happened there. But I'm glad. Cabergoline is a hell of a drug. It really is. Yeah, DHA pregnenolone. I'm of the belief now that like you just want to have both of them in your regimen. And if you for some reason you can't tolerate them, get the dose straight. Of like DHA is usually, if you dose it too high, it can make you overstimulated. You gotta find your dose, or figure out why. You know, try to modulate neurotransmitters otherwise, so that you don't have some negative response to a stimulating, you know, mild androgen in that case. But I think they're both important. Remember, man, I mean, you shut down that system. You shut down these hormones, which have profoundly important responsibilities on modulating brain function and the libido and intratesticular function. Pregnenolone has modulation of intratesticular function, DHA as well. Penile sensation. DHEA is the only thing, oral DHA, that can restore intrapenile DHT. I mean, taking DHT would likely do that. But taking DHEA restores intra-sex organ DHT. It doesn't restore brain DHT because that's of gonadal origin, but it restores intra-sex organ DHT. These things are fucking important, boys. These things are important. I already answered that question. I don't know. But I have showed it on last live stream, I believe. But I don't think the brand matters. As long as you're getting good quality tacotrienols, you're going to be fine. Darren, no, I haven't frozen my sperm. No, I'm just not subject to fear mongering. Like I don't get, oh, what if? No, I think I'm fine. My loads are insane. I mean, like if a fertility protocol for me would be high dose HCG, probably recombinant FSH, and a DHT, actual DHT itself is probably what I would use, and I think I would be fine. Definitely. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm 40. By the time I'm 45, I want to have a kid. So, I'm going to have to get to it. English team, what am I doing for cholesterol, blood pressure? Do you use tadalafil, citrus bergamot? Most of those things I do not use. Tadalafil 5 milligrams a day. Cardio is my cholesterol and my blood pressure drug, and it works greatly. I've also been running for a total of 15 years, so I'm sure that did something that made positive continuous changes in my physiology where my blood pressure doesn't go above it'll never find it at rest at normal 120/80. It's always 110/70, 110/65, 105/65. It runs low. Always. Like, I need to consume salt when I run outside, because then I'll start feeling fucking like I've got too little salt. So, a good lifestyle is what I'm doing for this. Cholesterol, LDL was 92, so perfectly in range. HDL 44. HDL matters less than people think, but still was in range. All the ratios were in range, all green. I don't know if I have those still, do I? Nope. I don't think I have them here. There was pre-cycle lipids. No, that was from March. I don't know if I have the in-cycle lipids where everything was in range. Test labs. Those were the test labs. Holy fuck, bro. Yeah, I don't have them. But everything's great. Everything's great right now. Now, if I was running a gram or more for 3 or 4 months, I would probably have to start looking into some of this stuff. But right now, it's not a problem. Not using copper peptide. No, I believe it's a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor that goes systemic. That's really what I think. Asked my clinic to switch to prop. They just discontinued it. They said try Enethate. They prescribe 120 a week. I told them I want to start with 200 a week. They denied that. We need a UGL. Yeah, what clinic? that's interesting. So if this is a clinic other than Defy, then this really confirms that more pharmacies are. I got an injury up here somewhere. More pharmacies are discontinuing prop. This is a problem right now, guys, for testosterone propionate. It is a problem. I don't know why. I'm getting to the bottom of it, and I'll have an answer later on in the week or by next live stream. But worst comes to worst, UGL, but secondarily cream. Cream is as close as you're gonna get, and cream is fucking awesome, dude. If you can find where to apply it, that works well for you. If you're running on the testicles, you really should do everything optimal. Shave the testicles, take a hot shower, open the pores, therefore let it dry completely, and then apply the cream. Or rub it on your shoulders. Some people get better absorption and a better response rubbing the cream on the shoulders. Otherwise, if you don't find a good UGL source, again, I'll have the source list out in 3 weeks. Is this because the guy had estrogen issues? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. The suggestion to lower your test dose when you're having problems on TRT is not always the best suggestion, I've found. What you usually do by doing that is, you'll probably clear your estrogen problems if that's even the problem that you're really having. It's likely you're just responding negatively to large doses of test because your body can't handle it, and you've got to figure out how. But people end up less anabolic, losing libido and erections, and all manner of fucking problems arise as a result of that. You go into, these lower doses, it's just not the best idea. You're just going to feel worse. When the problem was a different problem. It wasn't the testosterone, it was your reaction to the testosterone. It wasn't even the estrogen necessarily, it was your reaction to the estrogen. which is having to do with some inflammatory state. It's, you know, how much fucking alcohol you consume. It's the fact that you don't do cardio and your body is just like, you know, this subpar operating machine because you don't move enough. You know, there's all these kinds of things. This is a good question. How's optimizing test DHT help business? A lot. I mean, yeah, I could get that effect again on Proviron, the brain effect. It's even more pronounced with Proviron, and I don't know why, but I fucking will take it. But the single biggest metric I can track is I am more able to do work for longer, you know, every day. Like, you know, at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Like last night, I did 2 hours of web work just in bed with my laptop at 10 p.m. I never would have been able to do that before androgens, even with the use of nootropics. I would have to dose nootropics in the evening to do that. Now I don't even need to dose nootropics to do that. I still take them. I largely take my stacks. This stuff is fucking Adderall without side effects, bro. Doesn't last as long, but you don't want it lasting as long. That's the whole problem with Adderall. But yeah, I mean, a lot of energy to execute a lot of work, even when like it's later in the day, and I ordinarily wouldn't have that energy. If something needs to be done, I can tend to it. You know, that is it. You know, especially when running DHT derivatives or DHT itself, I'm much more confident, like just more confident than normal. So all those things, but largely it's how much I can work. No, people aren't trolling. Yeah, I'm going to launch a source list. Master RC student with the super chat. Thank you, brother. Thanks for the work you do. I'm dialing in my testosterone protocol with excellent results. I've replaced all previous nootropics with torque. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, this stuff replaces everything. I built this to be an everyday stack. That's what I wanted to do, you know, because like the racetams, as an example, you shouldn't take every day. You're going to have diminishing returns. They won't affect you the same way as they did prior. And that just sort of sucks because you love the effect and you want to continue taking racetams because they're awesome, especially aniracetam, but it's not made for everyday use. Like too much choline, it starts like recruiting homeostatic mechanisms, which balance out your response to aniracetam. But this stuff pretty much smashes you every fucking day. That's why I built it. Pretty much turns on the lights every day. All right, boys, epic questions. I'm going to end the stream. I got some stuff I got to attend to. We're back to a regular schedule of content this week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday live streams. Live stream probably in the middle of the week, likely in the evening. So look forward to that. But I've got all manner of topics. I got some cool shit to talk about. New stuff reflecting client experiments and stuff that's gone wrong and stuff that's gone right. It's just an endless faucet of stuff to talk about. So look forward to that this week. Sub to the channel if you haven't. Hit the like button. It makes a big difference. Takes a second, doesn't cost you anything. Seriously, those of you still here, please just hit the like button. I will wait. I'll wait. Please do it. It really makes a difference. Other than that, nothing else to announce. Torque Stack is buy one, get one free for probably about another week or so. I've got a certain amount of bottles I've got to move at buy one, get one free. The code is in the description of this video. Adderall without the side effects. People replaced their fucking modafinil with that stuff. I built it. All right. I built it. It's very powerful. Yep. Nothing else. Godspeed, boys. We'll chat soon.